Topping the news at 5:30, in the past 4 weeks, 2 New York State troopers have been hit in Erie County by vehicles that did not move over.
Joined now by Jim O'Callaghan, the New York State Trooper, PIO for Troop A. Jim, thanks for being here. This is an issue that we have talked about many, many times. The state has a move-over law for any vehicle that's on the side of the road, especially emergency or first responder vehicles, but anything that has its flashing, people need to move over or slow down considerably. And yet, here we are, several years into this law being on the books, and 2 people get hit. First of all, what's their conditions? Can you tell us about that?
Conditions are good, still recovering. One off of work, still coming back, and it's tough too because it's a hard topic. Because we have, every time I get that email, that phone call, I'm like, oh, what's the status here? This law is 15 years old.
Wow.
It came out on January 1st, 2011. So there's no excuse at this point. I would say almost this law is just a common courtesy, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That could be your family member, disabled vehicle on the side of the road. That could be an emergency vehicle, a tow vehicle, any of the above. Even a garbage truck technically applies for this law. And it basically is just you moving to that adjacent lane to give them the space that they need. This is not a very difficult concept. I don't understand why New York State Police from 23 to 25 have a 93% increase in tickets issued when it comes to the move over law specifically. So that being said, we see a huge problem with this. It's a 2-point ticket. It carries a fine of $150 to $500 depending on how many you would acquire over time, so to speak. And one of the things that we look at, personally myself look at, is Trooper Kevin Dobson was a Clarence trooper, got hit on the 290. Every time I walk into that station, which is very frequent, that the Clarence station, which is right next to the town hall there, next to Clarence Center, when I walk into the locker room, that's a new building, so all the lockers in there for the troopers are black. They're brand new. And then there's Dobson's locker, which is blue from the old barracks, and it's got a bunch of his stuff still on there. Wow. And it's like, I see that, and I'm reminded about him, and I knew him, and there's a family that coincides with that. I'm looking at a locker, I'll never see him again. Yeah. But there's a family on the other side of that'll never see him again. And even take it a step further, one of my classmates, David Kniff, he was a trooper out in Albany, 2013, that year in Christmas time, December, he got struck and killed. Same thing, no move over, they didn't move over. Mm-hmm. And we look at that now here in Buffalo, we have 2 troopers hit in a very short amount of time, and a tow operator hit as well. Wow. And it's one of those things where we're lucky that everyone's alive in the last month. But again, please slow down and move over. That's all we're asking. This isn't, I want to say rocket science, but you have to move over to that adjacent lane. Give them the space that they need.
If you cannot safely move over to that adjacent lane, you have to slow down significantly.
Yes.
And that is always something I'm kind of toying with when I go by something. I'm like, oh my goodness, I really can't get over. And I don't slam on the brakes, but I slow down significantly. Yeah.
That's a good, don't slam on your brakes, right? Because that means the person behind you might not see the other vehicle. Maybe you drive an SUV and a car is behind you. They don't see the lights, so they hit the back of you. Don't slam on. The biggest thing you do is turn your, signal on. You want to signal to the other people on the road that you are attempting to move over, slowing down to a considerable speed to where if something were to happen in front of you, you could stop in time before striking that person or that vehicle. And that is the big one is the signal. We look for that signal. Are you at least attempting to move over to that adjacent lane?
It is obvious when we're talking about New York State or, like Buffalo Police or law enforcement vehicles that are on the side of the road. You mentioned some other vehicles that qualify as well. We see during rush hour, there's AAA or another help roadside assistance or what have you. Those qualify. What are some of the other vehicles that qualify? Is it any vehicle? Is it like a regular passenger vehicle? If I have my blinkers on, do people have to move over for me?
It's a 4-way flasher. It is almost every vehicle at this point in time. They've added quite a bit of the disabled vehicle, 4-way flashers, a garbage truck, which under the law be a refuge truck, any service vehicle, the yellow, the amber lights, right? Service vehicle. Could be a tow, could be I ran out of gas, I have a service vehicle coming to gas up my car. It could be any of those things. Obviously, you have your first responders, those would be your red lights, right? Those would be your ambulance, those would be your fire, EMS, those would be your police vehicles, any of those vehicles as well.
State police also have recently put on their light bars, new light bars that go up in the air, too. Those are helpful as well, right?
Yes, because what we're looking at, if anyone's seen them, they do. There's a light bar, and then they open up, and they're really tall. They're about 3 feet tall because the thruway obviously has valleys and hills. And so what that does, it gives the trooper maximum visibility to the people coming up behind them. But again, that additive is also another thing where it's like there's really no excuse at this point in time, especially when our troopers are literally getting struck inside and outside their vehicles at this time.
I do want to bring up that the points added onto your license just went up. What is the point system now if you don't move over, if you're ticketed for this?
So this will still be a 2-point ticket.
Okay.
This is not, but depending on what else was going on, one of the operators that struck our trooper a couple weeks ago, that person was DWI drugs.
Yeah.
So not only do we have terrible weather that night, we have troopers helping motorists that were disabled on the roadway, so it's not any cause of their own, but now they get struck by a vehicle who's got an operator base essentially high on drugs. So, you know, it's just a ton of bad decisions that were being taken there. Luckily, no one lost their life, but you can see with all these pictures, it seems like every week across the state, one of our cars are getting hammered by somebody from the rear end. And the damage are significant, and a lot of these impacts are career enders. Yeah. You know, if a trooper lives, depending on the injuries of the trooper, they may not be able to come back. Because it's not like we have an office job or we work it from home or a cubicle. You have to be ready for full and strenuous, and we can't have a lot of disabilities or even minor disabilities when it comes to being a trooper.
And not all of these are people who are allegedly drunk. It's people just not paying attention.
Yes.
Somehow they don't know about this law, but as you said, it's a common courtesy. If you see someone on the side of the road, move over.
This law was enacted 15 years ago. We're the 48th state to get it 15 years ago outside the District of Columbia. Canada's had this long before us, so there really isn't a reason in any other state coming, you know, a transient, maybe visiting the falls or whatever. There's no reason not to know this because your state probably adopted this way before our state did back in 2011.
New York State Trooper James O'Callaghan. Jim, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.